How is little May doing at, like, restaurants and out?
She's awesome. Well, okay, she's awesome, but we also are very good about always bringing food and,
Smart. Mhm,
some
mhm.
books and stuff like that. So as long
Smart.
as we keep her eating right now, she's a good little eater. She'll entertain herself for like an hour.
That's
That's awesome.
brilliant. Colin, how are
Yeah.
yours with going out to restaurants and things of that nature?
Um, Bennett, the older one, is really good. He's like super chill. They're actually both pretty good. The younger one is still only like 8 months, so he's just kind of chilling still.
Mhm.
He doesn't really do anything except for hang out.
People don't understand, like, when you have, like, a
Good
baby,
life.
like, that's actually when to go and do things because
Yeah,
there's, like,
for sure,
very
Yeah.
effective ways to get the baby to chill, like
for sure.
sleep or bottle. It's such a it is a point of pride in our family that we have, like, 2 little boys that, like, we can go out to restaurants with because
Mhm.
it's like it is something that we actively work on. We have, like, a
Yeah.
bag that we pack, and we're like, "Okay, there's crayons, there's papers, there's books,
Hmm.
emergency
Mhm.
tablet." Like, we are not I am not
Mhm.
ashamed of, like,
Ah.
after they eat and, like, when my wife and I are still working on our meals and, like, wanna enjoy a glass of wine, they'll go in front of a tablet because
Oh. This is
I
divisive.
am
Go
not
on. Uh-huh.
I mean, just in the end, the craziest thing to me is people that go out to restaurants with their kids and, like, they are able to ignore the screaming, and so they just try to enjoy
Yes.
their dinner and ignore the screaming child. It's like, you're not the only people in the restaurant. Like, it's
I
your
agree.
social responsibility to help your child be better in a public space.
100%.
Mhm.
And,
Absolutely.
like that and that's literally, like, one of the only times we really, like, do tablet times, like, when we go to restaurants and stuff, and it's, like, great. Like, it's a special treat. Sitting and then they're just watching Bluey or some stuff, and it's, like, not even, like,
True.
anything crazy.
Yeah.
Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
A white wine from Germany.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Aaron here, and I am joined by two of the most opinionated guys I know, Colin and Joel. How the heck are you guys?
Doing well. I've got some opinions on some stuff. Not all stuff though. Wine for sure. Heavily opinionated on wine, but
There it
Mhm.
is.
yeah.
Yeah, no, doing pretty well. I guess, yeah, I'm opinionated on some things. Actually, the other day, let me throw this at you guys. What are your opinions on when you're finishing a meal, okay? And the server comes over. And let's say you've cleared your plate. You're in the clean plate club, okay? They come over and they do that thing where they're like, "Oh, somebody didn't like this, huh?" How does that make you feel?
Now, is it like a race where, like, either they say someone didn't like this or you say, "Oh, I hated the meal." Like, is it like
Oh
who's
god.
cornier faster? Like, which is worse?
Can I tell you something? Both of those, regardless of who starts it, there's like a feeling in my stomach. I hate it so much. It's like a fireball of anger that just wants to explode. I
Well,
hate it so much. Am I
I
alone in
hate
this?
well, I hate to admit I'm kind of that guy. I'm kind of the I didn't like it guy,
What?
even though I crushed it. Yeah, I'm a loser, and I think stuff like that is hilarious.
That's not
So,
true.
No, you're just embracing your inner dad.
yeah,
Like, your
that's right.
dad jokes 100%
That's right.
all
No,
in.
I am probably in the minority in thinking that that is funny every time, even though it's so totally not funny.
I
Yeah,
love
that's a
that you love it. I love that it tickles you. Aaron?
Yeah,
yeah, that's a note for me. I'm just like and I
Right?
have to say that one is like I hate
Oh,
anything like that, and I think that one specifically, like, that one I can kinda brush off and just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," but, like, if it gets even more than that, they start, like, asking for my input, like, then I'm out.
I'm not gonna make a thing of it, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, "Oh god. Ugh." Anybody have any
Nope.
other things like that? And you any Chardon-Yays or Pinots? Let's call it that, huh? What do you
Oh,
think about that?
I love that.
that is
Yeah,
a
that
lot
was
of
a P
fun.
nope for me.
That's a
P
Chardonnay
nope.
for me. I'm in. Give me
That's a
all the dad jokes,
Chardonnay.
the dinner-ending
Look at
dad
these
jokes.
opinions
I am
flowing.
in.
Yeah, that's a P nope. 2
That is
P
a
nopes to 1
Pinot for me.
Chardonnay.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
okay, I got one, I got one.
Hit me.
Savoring your sparkling wine bottle
Mm,
open. Is that
mm.
a Chardon-Yay, or is that a Pinot for you?
Total Chardonnay for
Oh,
me. Have you ever seen that live? It is it is
I
so
love
much
it.
it is so much fun. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. Is it cool? 100%. So, that's a Chardonnay for me. I'm all about the Sabrage.
I'm gonna go the
Sauvage.
what?
Sabrage.
Oh, very fancy. I'm gonna go. This might surprise you a little bit. I'm gonna go Chardonnay on this one too. But I will.
Really?
Can I put a disclaimer on my Chardonnay because it needs to be in the right setting. Okay, so like celebrating something, cool, that makes sense. But just hanging out at Applebee's on a random Saturday, no, there's no need for this.
Wait, hold up.
I've never seen a
They
saver and bottle. I've never seen this bottle of sparkling wine at Applebee's, let
You
alone
don't
a
have that?
saver labeled bottle of sparkling
if
wine.
they're savoring a bottle like sparkling wine at Applebee's, I'm there. That's like the coolest
Yeah,
place for it because it's
It's a
totally
Chardonnay at all
unexpected.
times
so
for
out of
you.
place.
That's true.
No, I feel like every time I see someone saber a bottle of sparkling wine, like it then like foams out a ton afterwards, and I
Yes,
just feel like you're
total
like,
waste.
was that worth losing a half a bottle of sparkling wine? No, I think if someone came out
I
and knew
will
what they were
agree.
doing and they have the actual saber knife, is it called a saber? Like, and
Yeah.
like pop it open. I've also seen people like be like, look, I can do it with the bottom of my wine glass, and they like
Yes.
pop it open,
That
which
one's a
is
little more
neat.
impressive to me. Yeah.
It's very cool when it goes right,
Mhm.
but sometimes, like, obviously the top of the champagne bottle breaks off and the
Flies
bottom of
off.
the
Yeah.
champagne glass has the potential of breaking off, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
"There's a lot of glass here now."
That's see, again, there's the
That's me.
dad in you, like, "Oh boy, we gotta
Yep,
keep this
everyone
glass
make
under
sure
control.
you
Everybody
put your
put your
shoes
shoes
on.
on."
If you're wearing flip-flops, stay in your seat. I'm gonna get the
No bare
broom.
feet over
Is there a
here.
broom here?
Where's the
Yeah.
dust
Yeah,
buster? I need the
yeah, so
dust buster.
I'm gonna say in general, it's a P nope for
Mm,
me, just
yep.
because I don't think the fun is worth the fear.
Oh, give me the fun.
That's
Give
fair.
me the fun.
That's fair. Colin, do you have a Chardonnay or Pinot? Or we can call it cool or corked. I'm workshopping other names. Cool or corked or
Ooh.
Chardonnay or Pinot. Pinot.
Yeah, I got one. I got one. How about
Okay.
this? How about getting honked at or honking as soon as the light
Mhm.
turns green?
Mm,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the
where did
worst.
this come from? All of our faces right there. Very
Yeah.
clearly, this is a Pinot. But where the hell did that come from? Like that wasn't
I
a
don't
thing
know.
that happened 5 years ago around here, at least.
I think people have a deep down fear that it's not gonna be like like, I think there are some people who are looking at their phones every time the light
Oh
turns
yes,
red
totally,
and
for
the light
sure.
turns green, and then you do
Oh,
sit there for, like, 5 to 10 seconds, which feels like an eternity, and I think people have
yeah,
developed this inner fear that it's gonna be that moment, and so if there's any hesitation at all, they're like, "It's green!" Like, start honking
yeah,
at them.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
don't
the I'll give people, like, a good 3-second,
I think
yes,
some people are just
chunk of time.
impatient. Like, I've been in situations where somebody honked every single and they're, like, 6 cars back. It's not even like
yeah,
they're the
Mhm.
next ones to go. So,
Or they
yeah,
can't see if there's, like, a little old lady in front of you, and
but
it's
it's
like when
immediate.
you're in the
yeah,
front and someone's crossing the street and people are honking at you and you wanna, like, roll your
mhm,
window down and be like, "Do you want me to run them over?"
Yeah.
Because 'Cause
No,
I've done
it's
that.
it's a huge P nope for me. Can't
douchey,
stand it.
douchey,
Really
Yeah,
big
no.
Pinot.
grinds the gears.
There's no excuse. But
No,
you're
so
probably
bad.
right that that's the root cause of why that became a thing. People sitting on their cell phones. So
Cell phones
doesn't
at the
make it
root of
any
all
better,
evil.
Doesn't.
but
Get rid of them.
Doesn't make it right.
Unless you're listening to this on your cell phone right now, then don't get rid of it, but, you know,
Well, you don't
cell
have to
phones are
gotta
be
go.
watching us on your cell phone and driving. I actually would not recommend that. Listen to us.
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
put your
Listen in
phone
your
away if
car.
you are
Mhm.
driving right now.
You're in the office, have us up on that other screen that your boss can't see as quickly. It's kind of angled away. Put us
That's right.
up there. Watch us there. In the car, it's
Yeah,
audio
yeah.
only, please.
Please.
Have you guys watched us on Spotify yet?
Yes. I didn't even know that
That
it
was so
would
cool
do
when that
that.
popped up.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the app or the other crazy thing, if you open up the Spotify browser on your computer, like I'll do when I'm at work, we
Mhm.
like with like full screen on the computer.
That's
It's
that it
awesome.
is pretty
Sorry,
wild.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stare
We're
in the
gonna
dark.
we're gonna
Like,
No
invest in
choice.
better lighting and videos moving forward, but it was jarring the first time I opened it,
It's
like,
true.
2 weeks ago. I was like, "Oh, hello, us."
Yeah. Yeah, that
that
was
is funny.
wild,
That
unexpected.
is
Yeah.
very
Okay, see, there we go. We're all opinionated. That was kind of fun. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. I
that was
like
fun.
that.
A
I
lot of
like
fun.
that.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like it was quick, it was fun. I'll definitely put something up on Instagram about that too. One, first of all, whether
Yes.
we like cool or corked or Chardonnay or is it Pinot or Pinot
Pinot.
Nope? Pin
Chardon-Yay or Pinot?
or Pinot?
That's my
Got it,
favorite.
Pinot.
Pinot.
I'm
Yeah, I
I
kind
voting
am
of
for
like
too.
that
I'll
one.
both.
I'll
Yeah,
we'll let
that's a
people
lot of fun.
choose. I'll
Yeah.
ask folks if they have any ones sad for us that we can do next week. Some quick fire
Yeah,
rounds.
Yeah,
love that.
great.
Send us your
That's great.
Chardonnays or Pinots.
Yeah, wine or not wine related. Either way, we have opinions.
Either
We're
way.
opinionated.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, fantastic. All right, so another exciting week. We have been on a white wine weirdness kick. I'm gonna call it that. The triple W, white wine weirdness, like just some white wines that a
Well,
lot of
I
people
like
don't
that.
drink.
Wait,
And
wine weirdness. Yeah.
it's our white
Right.
wine weirdness series. And we did not do this intentionally. It's just what's popped up. We're trying new wines, we're trying new adventurous things. So Joel, tell the listener or watcher what we're drinking today.
Okay, so we mentioned we're drinking a white wine from Germany. It's been a little bit since we've been in Germany. This is the Weingut Geil Gewürztraminer Kabinett. I might have said that last part wrong. This
Nailed
is
it.
2022. Oh, thank you. Obviously, a Gewürztraminer, and this is from the region of Rheinhessen. This is 10% ABV, one of the lower ABVs I think we've tried.
Mm,
And we picked this up at Total Wine for $20.
Total Wine.
Our once an episode shout out to Total Wine.
Shout out Total Wine. We appreciate you. Awesome. I'm excited. And okay, so Gewürztraminer.
That's right. Good job, Aaron.
Gewürztraminer. Yeah.
Gewürztraminer.
Gewürztraminer.
Yep.
I remember when we did the all sauce episode and it was talking about the common wines in that area, and I had to read like the 3 wines, and it was like Riesling, and then there was another one that was like Virgin. So I'm
Gewürztraminer.
glad we finally got
Nailed it.
Gewürztraminer. So this is
Gewürz-
a German white wine. Very excited about trying this. I have never had this before. So excitingly, Colin is going to teach us a little bit more about this type of wine in just a moment. But before we do that, Joel, why did you choose this wine for us this week?
Yeah, random, right? But I'll tell you why I picked this one. I was talking I was talking to my mom on Mother's Day,
Happy
and
Mother's Day.
happy Mother's Day. And so, we were talking. I've mentioned that she's an avid listener, but not really a wine drinker on the show. So she called me. She said she's enjoying listening, but she wants to find something that she can go out and order. And she said, I want it to be sweet and I want it to be fruity. And so my mom, again, doesn't drink a lot of wine. If she does, she'll drink a Moscato, something like that. But I wanted to find something maybe with a little bit more oomph, maybe a little bit more cachet, something where you can walk in and say, hey, do you have a Gewürztraminer that I could try? That just makes you sound pretty cool, pretty
It
knowledgeable,
is.
right?
Not a lot of people
So,
would ask for
but
a
still
Gewürztraminer.
sticking with
And the
the
answer would be no.
exactly,
Yeah,
maybe in many cases.
unfortunately, that's
But at
probably
least you still get the cred for that one. Like maybe going and no disrespect to the Moscatos out there, but like I feel like that was kind of trendy for a little while, but not everybody's asking for a Gewürztraminer. So I thought I'm gonna get kind of random. Let's see if we can find Linda a wine, grape, and maybe a bottle that she can go and see if she can find next time she's out.
That
love that.
seems like as good of a reason as any other reason that
Love
we have
that.
had over the
Absolutely.
past 4 months. No, absolutely love that. So you mentioned that this might be something that's a little sweet, a little fruity. Colin, why don't you teach us about it? Is that the kind of wine that a Gewürztraminer is? What are we talking about here?
This is the only thing you will learn.
Yeah, sure. And you jokingly mentioned that you might not find one of these out and about, and that's because there are really not a ton of them made. It's because Gewürztraminer is not an easy grape to grow. It's kind of picky, and it sits on a fine line between not being ripe enough and immediately being overripe. Gewürztraminer thrives in cooler climates, but it also needs that right amount of sun to get it ripe. Or it's Gewürztraminer is known as an aromatic grape, and if it doesn't get as ripe, it doesn't get all of those that its full level of aromas. But then if it gets too ripe, as we've learned in the past, more ripeness leads to less acid. Well, with Gewürztraminer, it's not a high acid grape to begin with, so it can actually lose all of its acid and it becomes flabby and not very nice to drink. Even though it might be
Mm.
expressive and interesting flavor-wise, it can be kind of weird and uninteresting structurally. So,
No one
um,
wants to be weird and uninteresting.
especially structurally.
May I interject another option for the name of the game, by the way?
Please.
Flab or fab? Flab or fab? Write that one down. Go on.
I'll add it to the list for
Yeah.
the listeners.
Hey, how about
Thank
we
you.
at the end of this episode with this Gewürztraminer, let's it could be either fab or flab. There we
Okay.
go.
I love it.
Fab or
There we go.
flab?
So Alsace is the traditional home of Gewürztraminer, but it's also found in other wine regions around the world. Obviously, Germany, a little bit in Austria, Italy, New Zealand, and a little bit in the United States. But again, it's not there aren't a lot of plantings of it, so you're not going to find a ton of it in stores. I think, I was at Total Wine, I saw maybe 5, 6 bottles of Gewürztraminer, and that was it. And it was in
I don't know. I had trouble finding any.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So it's not a lot because not a lot of people make it. So as far as the wine itself, it's usually a fuller bodied wine, and with, as I mentioned, medium or low acid. Gewürztraminer is not usually meant to age, although at the very high end, it can age for a couple of years, and it brings out some more of those tertiary honey notes that you would find in bottle aging. As far as the flavor profile is concerned, and this is why people love it, it's super unique. Very much unlike any other white wine you might find out there. You might find some hints of lychee, rose petal, some ginger, and then some spiciness in there. And actually, Gewürztraminer means spicy Traminer. Traminer is the grape that Gewürztraminer came from. It was a mutation in the Traminer grape to get a Gewürztraminer. And in most cases, spicy, or at least the translation from German is more talking about how aromatic it is, but it just so happens that there also tend to be a lot of those nice baking spices without this wine seeing any of the oak influence. So it kind of works both ways. And because of this wine's flavor profile, it's often a good pair with some spicier foods because it is so unique. Sometimes it can be sweet, and you need some of that sweetness to pair nicely with a lot of those spicier foods, so like Thai food, Indian food. This would be a great pair with some of those cuisines. And that's really Gewürztraminer. There's not really a ton about it, again, because it's just not that widely grown. So, once you kind
Mm.
of understand the basics of the grape, that's pretty much it and what to expect. I'm really excited to try this one. This is my first Gewürztraminer, so it'll be interesting to see if this one kind of plays into that flavor profile. And then one other thing I did want to mention on the front of this bottle is the word cabinet, which is
Mhm.
part of the German quality hierarchy. Now, the German quality
Ah,
hierarchy is very in depth, so I'm not going to cover all of it. But at the very top, you have what's called predicate wine. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but sounds something like that. And that has a couple different layers. And cabinet actually refers to the ripeness when the grapes were picked. So cabinet just basically means the grapes were picked at their expected ripeness. Cabinet wines are usually going to be lighter in style, low alcohol, which this one is, and they can be dry or off dry. And I think we should dedicate an entire episode to the German system. Maybe next time we do a nice German Riesling or something like that, because it's super confusing. And they're like two different ones that you have to kind of pay attention to. So it's there's a
yeah,
lot.
I was gonna ask, is this the same? I remember when we had the Riesling, there was like Gut Trocken. Is that the same,
Well,
or is that different? It's
Trocken is a
dry, right?
statement of dryness, not necessarily a quality statement. Is
Leave it to the Germans to create a very
Oh,
complicated system for
then
quality.
I believe we all went, yes, das ist gut when we saw
This
that.
is
'Cause that's
good.
yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Colin. This is, I mean, I based on the kind of conversation so far, like, I don't think this is gonna be the wine that find all over the place, grab all the time, but it's gonna be really interesting, right? Like, this is something that and even in trying to find a Gewürztraminer that we can all try, like, it was a bit of a struggle to find one that was available both in Jersey and Florida. So, but really exciting, really interesting. I'm excited to
I'm a
dive
little
in.
nervous. I feel like
Yeah,
I
me
might have
too.
taken a big swing here, and
Huge.
I hope it all works out.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
me too.
you don't
I
wanna
hope it's
mess
great.
up your reputation so far, Joel, of
Yeah.
picking wines that we generally put in our wine fridge. Alright, so we know why we're drinking it, we know what it is. Let's give it a try. Let's smell it and see what we get. Okay.
Tastes like wine.
Aaron, what is that on your wine glass there? It's is that a
Ah.
new type of wine glass you got?
No, it's not new glass, but I got these awesome wine glass stickers from our friends at Glass Tat,
Ooh.
which is this yeah, met them via Instagram.
Like,
Instagram's a great place. They're a
mhm.
friend of our friend Cheryl from Savvy Bee,
Ah.
but they're really cool. They're these little stickers that you put on your wine glass. This one says "Poor decisions," and I
Yo,
also
you are.
I put "Sip and swirl" just to remind
Oh,
myself.
apropos.
But
Oh,
these are fun
so is
because
the
they
idea like you're at a party and you help identify your glass?
well, yeah, so there's these ones that have, like, kind of fun sayings on them. I kinda imagine, like,
Yeah.
bachelorette parties and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they also make ones that are just, like, name tags. So I think
Oh.
for, like, a party or something like that, or if you're doing, like, a wine tasting and you need to, like, label them and you write on them.
Oh.
But the thing that's cool about these, rather than just using, like, a dry erase marker or just putting an actual sticker, these dissolve. So you
What?
toss in the wine glass or put them under hot
Ve
water, these
very
dissolve and
smart.
fall off. So if you're having, like, a
That's
party
pretty
or
cool.
something, people wanna label their glasses, you don't have to worry about, like, stickiness and stuff on your glass afterwards. I thought they were pretty
That's
cool, so they
awesome.
were really nice. They sent these out. I think you guys are gonna get some, so I'm definitely
Oh,
gonna stick some I'm gonna stick these on my glasses for the next few episodes because 'cause they're fun. So,
Cool.
thanks, Glass
okay.
Tats. Very cool.
Awesome.
Folks listening, you should definitely check out their Instagram.
Very cool.
Awesome. With that being said, now you know what stuck to my glass while we're smelling our wine. Joel, I see you swirling ferociously
Mhm.
down there. What are
Mhm.
you getting?
Mhm. Well, you said aromatic earlier, Aaron or Colin, and yeah, you better believe
Wow.
it.
Wow. There is
Mhm.
so much in here. It is
Yeah.
insane.
And I'll tell you, the things it's very like I don't want to keep saying this, but tropical is the first thing that comes to mind. And I think you might have said you said lychee earlier. I think that's super on point.
100%.
Lychee?
Lychee.
Define
Yeah,
that for me.
lychee. So it's you ever had okay. There's two things that it makes me think of. Number one, there used to be this candy you would find in that like Asian grocery stores, and it was little bits of fruit surrounded in lychee, and you would just like pop them. They were amazing. My buddy in high school always had them, and I probably ate 1,000 of them from their family pantry. Uh, and then also, you ever been to a like a boba place, Aaron?
Boba?
Boba
Yeah,
tea.
yeah, boba tea kind of place.
No, I'm not cultured.
Okay,
Okay.
well, maybe this is a bad example, but there's places around here where they'll do boba, the tapioca, or you get your smoothie with lychee in there, like kind of like diced up lychee. So it's the same
Mhm.
kind of idea. It's like a little bit harder stuff in there, but it's delicious if you haven't tried that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's fruit.
Yeah, it's
I
fruit.
just I've never had lychee
Well, I
before.
only I it recently stuck out to me because I was at Animal Kingdom, and they have this sparkling lychee cider there, which was
Hmm.
delightful, and this smells almost exactly like that. I mean, is
Interesting.
yeah, lychee to the face.
Yep.
I'm also getting Joel, were you done? Sorry, I don't wanna cut in.
There's some other stuff, but I'll let you guys go.
I really pick up on that ginger. There's a lot of ginger in here, but it's really it's so unique,
Interesting.
I think. I don't remember smelling that smell in any other wine I've ever tried before or smelt before. So it's a cool smell there. And then I'm also getting I'm getting some of those spices too. Some of those baking spices,
Yeah.
and it's a very unique smell.
Mhm.
It's really nice. I love the way it smells.
I got an interesting one, but I wanna let Aaron, you go first, and then I want to throw something at you.
No, I don't have anything different, but I want to say, like, sometimes you all say something and I didn't know what I was smelling, and then you say something and it really clicks. And
Yeah.
Colin naming that ginger, and I actually think of like, the Canada Dry ginger ale, like
Mhm.
when you're
Mm.
getting that scent right after you crack a can.
Yep.
It's like that,
Yeah.
exactly like
Yeah.
that smell, and that's so interesting to me.
Or kinda candy ginger is also too what it brings to
Mhm.
my mind, like those chewy ginger candies with the sugar on the outside. That's what immediately comes to my mind. Joel, what did you have?
Okay, and maybe part of the ginger is what's making me say this too, but like a cooked pear, a
Yeah,
really sweet cooked pear. You know what I'm saying? Not that this is very smelling very sweet, but just that smell.
a baked pear with all those baking spices
Yeah.
on it, 100%.
Mhm.
Absolutely, I get that. And I'm glad you said that because I was also going to say that. So the fact we both landed there is pretty cool.
Love that. Love that.
Um,
A baked pear. Y'all, you're
Yeah.
making me, like, question my entire life. When are we gonna have a wine that smells like a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich? Like, I'm not
Get
like,
outta
I'm
oh
just
here.
god.
a
I hope we
baked
never find
pear.
that wine. I hope we never
Oh, I
find
hope
it.
we do. That sounds delicious. Oh my god. Let's do this.
Oh, man. Awesome. Okay, so some really, because you guys named a couple smells that pop up often, and then a couple that have not popped up very often at all, and that's very cool. So let's get into
Yeah,
it.
Very
What are you
unique.
tasting? Yeah,
incredibly.
very unique. Colin, what are you tasting?
So you get a ton of that lychee for sure. I think that's the predominant flavor. And then you definitely get some of that really kind of maps to what you get on the nose. I don't think there are any surprises here. It's pretty much what we called out.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add, and maybe it's because of the creaminess too, but again, is that honey. Like I got
Mm,
a lot more honey while drinking it than I expected.
yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. And I think it might be kind of a combination of flavors. It kind of does have that wild honey-esque vibe to it,
Mm,
but I wonder if that's kind of the baking spices plus the ginger plus the
could be.
lychee, but it definitely in there. I like that call.
Is
Yeah,
it also a little bit it's like a heavier, almost I don't wanna say syrupy because it's not syrupy, but it's like a thicker
it's like creamy.
type of mouthfeel going on. Yeah, creamy might be the perfect word. Sorry, go ahead,
Definitely
Aaron,
Yeah.
you were about to go.
No, I was gonna almost name exactly what you were naming, or just like from a structure standpoint, like it's a very like straightforward, like obviously it is a lower alcohol wine, not tannins, obviously, not super dry, but also that mouthfeel, like very creamy. It's like almost to me, like almost everything is like medium. It's like medium, 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 medium,
Mm,
like right across the board.
mm,
It it doesn't, it's reminiscent to me of like some of the Chardonnays we've had, from just like the experience of this wine, with obviously some uniqueness to the taste. But when I'm trying to think of like, would this be something that your average white wine drinker would enjoy? It's definitely more towards the spectrum, at least to me, of like someone, if you're like the Chardonnay, like creamier, butterier wines, like this is more in that realm than if you're more of like a Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc kind of drinker.
Structurally, I would agree. Flavor-wise, you couldn't get any further away from Chardonnay than this one. But yeah, it's
No, say
all
the flavors are uniquely its own. I'm talking about
yeah,
from a structure standpoint,
yeah,
which I
sure.
think actually impacts people when they're drinking white wine a little bit more than.
Oh, I'm a big structure guy myself. But yeah, one thing on the structure, I wish there was just a little bit more acid because there's a little bit of sugar in here and there isn't enough acid to cut through that sugar. And I think that also is part of the reason why we're getting that sort of heavier mouthfeel because that sugar kind of sits on the
mhm.
tongue. And it's not cloyingly sweet. It's not terribly unpleasant, but it is noticeable, and there's just not that acidic punch to really cut that down. Like, we've had some other wines where sugar is cut by the acid, that's not happening in this wine, and it's not,
Mm.
like, it's not great, in my opinion.
And Carl, I don't know if this is what you were talking about during your learning session when you were talking about like the finickiness of the grape and whether it could be like flabby. And the one word that's popping on my mind, and again, I don't know if this is related, but like kind of like a flatness to it, which I think is kind of what you're talking about with the acidity. Like there's an aspect of like flat soda that we've talked about in the past with a few wines that I'm getting a lot with this. And again, also I noticed like I brought this out of the fridge. It was a lot cooler earlier. It has warmed up a little bit.
Yeah,
So maybe
that's a
getting
big
it back
impact.
in the fridge would be helpful. But it's definitely tasting to me right now, just like kind of that meh structure. Like everything is like medium or low, and a little bit of flatness isn't super great in this moment.
Yeah. No, the flatness
Well,
definitely comes from the lack of acid. There's just not that kick to it. But other than that, it's I guess well balanced. You're right. Everything's pretty medium, except for the alcohol, which is low. I can't. This could be non-alcoholic for, as far as just experience is concerned.
I can drink like 4 of these. All right, so intense aroma, really unique flavors, kind of
Mhm.
medium low, everything in the structure. But do we like it?
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right. So Joel, this was your wine. So by tradition, you will go last. Colin, why don't you start us off? What are your thoughts on this wine?
So I love the way it tastes. I think the flavor profile is super unique. I love all the flavors. They all work well together. I can see why people like Gewürztraminer because if this is what it's bringing to the table, I I could absolutely get into it. I don't like the lack of acid. It's just the
Mm.
mouthfeel to me is borderline unpleasant because that acid isn't there. So, you know, I don't necessarily I want to keep drinking it because I enjoy the flavors, but then once the wine hits my tongue, I'm like, "Oh god, like I have to sit through this again." So, it's
Ooh,
like the back
geez.
portion of it, like
yeah,
the
the back
front, you're
portion of
good, and then you have to carry the weight of the rest, is what you're
right,
saying.
it
Yeah.
hits you with the nice flavors, all of that really works well
Yeah.
together, but then once you take some time to think about how it kind of interacts with your mouth, it's really just not that great. So, I'll probably put this I don't think it's worth draining, honestly. It's probably right on the edge though, honestly. If the flavor wasn't so good, if this was like
Wow.
an underripe version and the flavors weren't as expressive, this would be a drain wine, but I think the awesome flavors in this wine save it from the drain, but I'm putting this one in the closet because just the structure for me really ruins the overall experience.
Yeah, similarly, like I'm not worrying about it on the level you are. I think from a structure standpoint, like I think it's fine. It's tasty. I'm gonna drink it. I agree with you on the acid notes. I think that would really kick it up a notch. I think it's more of like a missed opportunity than a negative, right? It's like if they had gotten the acidity right on this, like we'd actually be talking about this wine in a very, very different way. So I will but I honestly, I think, like, if you're into sweet wine, you would like this, especially if it was, like, properly chilled and everything, so I'm gonna say, like, I think this is okay kitchen table wine, especially from the conversational standpoint. Like, I think being able to talk to people about Gewürztraminer and saying, like, "Hey, this is, um, a totally unique type of wine and something that you can get in Germany or Alsace," which is sometimes Germany, you know, harken back to that episode.
I was gonna say great
Um
Uh-huh.
throwback.
but I think it is a step above a lot of the other wines that we have put in our closet. Now, whether or not it's a wastier wine, it's gonna be a different thing for me,
Mhm.
but I think as far as just the wine by itself, I'd put it on my kitchen table, and I would talk to folks about it and, you know yeah,
Yeah. No, and I don't disagree, but, like, I just can't get past the structure, and maybe I'm just, like,
and I think that's fair.
super,
You
you know,
have a level 2 tongue
I'm
to go where your
super
level 2
focused on
does.
that because that's just how I experience wine, but I just can't get past how almost unpleasant the structure is, so I don't disagree, it's not bad wine, it's nice, like I said, the flavors are fantastic, but
Yeah.
I really can't imagine drinking too much of this because it's not great in the mouth.
Joel,
Mhm.
this was your wine. How you feeling?
Mm. You guys have me thinking. I will say I'm gonna review your reviews. Colin, I can't believe you were close to putting this in the drain because to me, like, there's nothing drainy about this. It's like, it's well-made wine, and I haven't had a whole heck of a lot of Gewürztraminer, but this makes me want to explore it more
I would agree with
because
that
it's got things that are going on that I think are really cool. It's
for
very
sure.
unique. At the same time, I was a little shocked you put it on your kitchen table, Aaron, because also, yeah, it's a little it's a little too heavy, it's a little too weighty at the end. So I think I am going to put this in the front, toward the front of the closet, because I do enjoy it. We've hit it all a lot. I enjoy the flavors, a little something to be desired in the mouthfeel. It's good enough to where I want to share it with somebody who hasn't tried a Gewürztraminer. So I want to share it with somebody who hasn't tried a Gewürztraminer, but also I feel like there's better out there. So final decision toward the front of the closet for me. And I'm going to
I think
say
we've
I do
I think we've
think,
averaged to the front of the closet. I think that's kind of where we're in,
yeah,
like, on the spectrum, like that's kind of where it is
I
sitting.
agree. I agree. Okay, let's talk about the other aspect of this.
Yeah, so this is, the real quick for listener home. In the end, we also say if it's a waste of your wine, which more has to do with the overarching value of the wine itself. And sometimes in our reviews, it's like, yeah, obviously this is not a waste of your wine, and we all loved it. Or this is definitely a waste of your wine. We all hate it. And sometimes it's a little trickier. At least for me, I think it's in that tricky place. Is anyone else feeling that way, or am I gonna be weird right now?
Trying to
No, yeah.
decide. As a reminder, this was a
Okay.
$20 bottle of wine. So, yeah.
S So that's the thing, I think we've talked a lot about, like, we're trying to find wine in that accessible range that isn't necessarily cheap wine, isn't necessarily super expensive wine, but we found, like, so many good wines between, like, 15 and $30, and we found a couple great wines under that. But I think when we get into that $20 to $30 range, we're expecting, like, a certain tier of quality. It's like that next step up on the ladder. And so for me, while I put this on the kitchen table as like if someone was to bring this, I'd love to talk about it and talk about what Gewürztraminer is and how it's unique and different. I don't think I'd go and spend $20 on it again. And so from that standpoint, I wouldn't recommend buying this wine. If someone's like, "Hey, I want to try Gewürztraminer, what would you recommend?" I wouldn't say this one. So from in that lens, I would say this is a waste of your wine.
Yeah, I wanna drink more Gewürztraminer. I don't wanna drink any more of this Gewürztraminer. So, in that vein, I think it's a waste as well. I just don't think it hits. Like, again, if this had a little bit of acid, a little bit more acid, it would probably be easy kitchen table wine. No, not a waste, but where it
Maybe
stands
their
right.
2023 will be better,
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But for this one, I would not recommend it or buy it again, so I'd have to say it's a waste.
Joel.
Okay. I was on the fence, but then I was thinking if someone were to come to us and say, "Hey, you should try this one. It's $30, but I stand behind it." I would rather spend $30 on something that somebody has
Mhm.
endorsed after listening to us talk about this than another $20 on this one. So,
Sure.
for that reason, I will agree with y'all that this is probably a waste of your wine.
Yeah, and so folks, like, waste your wine, and look, sometimes it's all about comparison. 2 weeks ago when we had Ashwin on, we had 2 Nebbiolos that both cost $20, and one of them was, like, borderline wine fridge, and one
So
of them
good.
was,
That's
borderline
fantastic.
drain, and they were both
Mhm.
$20, and so sometimes, like, the price point really does matter, not necessarily saying it has to be a 20, 30, 50, $100 wine, but just comparatively for what you can get at that price point. And so for $20, we're gonna keep searching. We'll try some more conversion meters over the next, our next 43 episodes, and we'll find a better one for you. So that being said, I think another fantastic episode of Stop
I
Wasting Your
agree.
Wine.
I would agree as
We
well.
I
reviewed
agree.
is it
Yeah.
the Gale
Gale.
Gewürztraminer Kabinett.
Guile. Guile.
And to give them some shine, like, they got a 1760 on their label. Geil. They were founded in 1760. This is an 8th generation vineyard. So maybe they have
Pretty
some
cool.
other great stuff. I always want to shout out, vineyards that have been around for a real long time. 1760. This vineyard's older than our country. So that is
Pretty wild.
yeah. So with that being said, we'd love to interact with everyone more. We'd love to have you following us if you don't already or supporting. Colin, tell the people how they can connect with us or just support us over time.
Yeah, sure. You can find us on Instagram at Stop Wasting Your Wine. Aaron is the Instagram king. He always responds, almost always.
Always.
So check him out there.
Always.
Always. No, you're really good at that. So props to him. Check out our Instagram. We are on YouTube if you want to check our videos out, and we could also check us out at our website, stopwastingyourwine.com. And those are really the big three.
And please, if you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube, please follow us or subscribe, whatever your option is. Please, if you can give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or leave us a review wherever, we'd greatly appreciate it. And as always, we just love your support, and we really appreciate you all very, very much. So we will see you all next week.
Hold on real quick. We got to answer the question. This wine, flabby? What was that on? Fabulous?
Flab or
Flab or
fab?
fab?
Flab or fab? There we go. I think it's pretty
Unfortunately,
obvious at this point, but
That's a little
It's
flabby.
a flab.
it's a little
Yeah.
flab. Little
Feel
Was
flab.
that flab flat? Man, if it only had a little more acid, it would have been a whole different beast.
Fab.
Would have been fab.
Win some, you
Fab.
lose some.
All right. Until next time, folks. Bye, all.
And remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye.